Hey, what's going on YouTube? I know it has been a little bit. I promised a video a few weeks back. With that being said, I did want to get a video out so I can get back in the groove of things. Today's video, this topic is going to cover ChatGPT, which is something that I've been super interested in learning. I figured this is a tool that I must learn in order to stay competitive in the field, whether that be as a system administrator, cybersecurity, even a software developer, or everything that I enjoy touching. I feel like ChatGPT is going to be essential to progress and stay in touch with the industry. So today we're just going to highlight a few things, show how useful this could be. We're going to go ahead and create some prompts, get some answers in regards to the Under the Wire. For those that are not familiar, it's similar to Over the Wire, which is kind of teaching Linux and hacking stuff. But for Under the Wire, it will go ahead and teach you about PowerShell and scripts, Sentry being the basics. There is other war games in here, but just to cover, we're going to cover just a few levels just to kind of highlight how GPT could work and then progress from there. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I do suggest that you guys check this out as well, whether that be ChatGPT or even Under the Wire. Both are good tools to learn. All right, so the way that I'm going to have this set up, this little layout here, is going to be on the left side. We will have the Under the Wire, essentially the box that we are going to be manipulating or working with. And then on the middle tab, we're going to have ChatGPT. That's where we will generate these prompts and get answers to this PowerShell, and we will get scripts from ChatGPT. And on the right side, we will have our PowerShell console, which will connect to the Under the Wire. With that being said, the plan for this video, maybe I will do more in the future. Like I said, I'm just trying to get in the groove of things, get videos out there, make sure all my equipment's still right. And also, I just really want to get back on YouTube. So for this video, we are just going to focus on level 0 through 4, all with some previous notes that I had, so we could quickly get through it. And then just to kind of highlight it, I will do level 5 without any notes, as I have not progressed that far, just to show you how easy it can be. So with that being said, let's get started. So you are going to head over to Sentry 0, and those that are not familiar, hopefully this is pretty easy. You're going to SSH into this box or this machine, whatever instance this is. So you're going to use SSH. You're going to specify the credentials. As you can see here, it tells you to obtain the initial credentials from Slack. That being said, I have done that previously, so I know the username is going to be Sentry1. And then we're going to specify the address, which is sentry.underwire.tech. And that's on port 22. So by default, that is what SSH runs on. So we do not have to specify the port here in this instance. So then we'll go ahead. And it's going to ask for the password. The password is going to be the same thing as the username. And it should log into this machine on port 22. All right, there we go. So as you can see, we are now on this machine. So let's go ahead and head to level 1. So as you can see here, the password for Sentry 2 is the build version of the instance of PowerShell installed on this system, which is the machine that we are connected to currently. Then it gives us kind of the format that we need. So we're going to look for this format right here, including all periods. This will be the password. And it's just telling us to look for the build version and not the PowerShell version. This is one thing that I found was kind of challenging at first. Or not challenging, but ChatGPT kept confusing it for whatever reason, as you will see here, because I did take the notes. So we'll go ahead and put this over here. So if we do create a one-liner PowerShell script to do the following. I kind of separated with a semicolon. It's not really necessary. You could even go like this and it'll just wait for your next prompt. Print details about installed PowerShell. I'm not sure if this prompt's going to be exactly the same because maybe the language model has changed. So we'll see what happens. So this isn't exactly what I was looking for when I did this initial prompt. Maybe I could have been more descriptive. Obviously, I didn't even specify that we were looking for the build version. But even when I did specify the build version on different attempts, it was getting weird results. So let's see if I hit what else can be found inside. Let's see what else can be inside this PS version table. Obviously, this is All right, so then this is where I got this. So then we come down to 4. From that information provided, create a one-liner PowerShell script to do the following: assign build version to variable password, print to screen. Again, this is not the best notes now that I'm looking back at it, but let's see if I can make it better. See if that works. I'm not sure what we're gonna get here, but hopefully somewhere in the right direction. All right, so here's a one-liner PowerShell script that creates an empty variable named password, which is exactly what we wanted, and we want to assign the build version property from the PS version table and to that variable, then prints the variable to. All right, so this looks correct to me, I think. So here's the variable. We're storing this information inside that variable. And then it's just going to print it out. I didn't necessarily need that, but good enough. So let's go here, check out, and see what happens. If we go here, paste that in. There we go. We got 10.0.14.393.5127. And just to kind of verify and make sure that looks right, that looks like the format that we need. I think when I was doing this the last time, I was still getting errors. So I had more prompts. We can even do, I forgot, oh yeah, I was getting the response that I was getting with the script that ChatGPT had created was in a table. So I wasn't exactly getting this separated by periods. So I had asked it, which was super cool. I said, using that same one-liner, create a string that separates the different columns within that table by a period. And it did exactly that. But when I did that, it did use a different version. It used the PS version instead of the build version. So let's go ahead and see if this password that we now have is the correct password for level 2. So we're going to go ahead and hit exit. And then all we're going to do here is go to level 2. And then we're going to paste that in. And if all goes well, we should be on level 2. It looks like it might have been the way it was pasting, so I just typed it in, and let's see if I get in. Okay, so it was that. That was the correct password. So the prompt that was given to us by ChatGPT was correct for the first level. All right, so we had completed level 1. Now let's head over to level 2, and the request that we are being asked is to find the password for Century 3. We have to know the name of the built-in commandlet that performs a wget-like function within PowerShell, plus the name of the file on the desktop. So essentially we need to know, if we're not familiar with PowerShell, we need to know what function within PowerShell performs this function, which like on Linux you would use wget to download a file from a web browser or something like that. So for those that, let's say we weren't using ChatGPT, an easy way to do this real quick would be like get alias and then just say wget to see if there's an alias for wget within PowerShell, which I know there is. That's going to be invoke web request, right? So we also need to find the name of the file on the desktop. So in this case, this one's kind of useless. We don't really need to use ChatGPT for this. Like we would just run directory and we would list out the files on the desktop, and that is 443. So in this case, it'd be invoke-web request 443. But since we are using ChatGPT today, the only thing that I'm going to highlight in this level is the research behind this, so we could use it to get a quick answer with just general English and without being too specific and having any experience within PowerShell. So we'll literally we'll just clear this out. So let's go ahead and we'll just say, what is the name of the built-in? You could probably get this from Google as well. And there we go. Invoke web request. Now we can just combine the two. There's no point of creating a script or anything like that to combine the two. We already know the answer on the desktop. everyone knows how to list out files. Well, I shouldn't say everyone. We could use ls, which is another alias, or dir like I did, and then let's get 443. So if we exit out of here, and now we go into level 3, we know the password. It's going to be invoke-web request, and then 443, and that should get us in to the next level. And there we go. All right, so now that we are on level 3, we are being asked to find the number of files on the desktop, and that will be the password for Sentry 4. So let's go here and let's say create PowerShell script, find number of files on desktop, and assign this number to a variable named count. Print for those that aren't familiar with PowerShell or maybe have some experience within programming, you can be more specific. I'm trying to use as basic as knowledge as possible to kind of show how ChatGPT could be possible. So create a PowerShell script to find a number of files on desktop, which is literally what it asked, and assign this number to a variable. So I guess in this case, you didn't even have to say that, and you could still get to this result, and then print that count to screen so we could see the result, right? So we see desktop path. Okay, so this is just a way to get the path of the desktop assigned to this logged in account or this logged in shell. Then we're going to create this variable file count, and that's going to get so it's going to do get child item, desktop path, which is this variable up here. And then we are going to pipe it into measure object and get count. And then we're going to write the number of files, and then we're going to, okay. That looks like it should work. I could have done it a little bit differently, but I guess it's exactly the same way I would have done it. So let's try it out. So let's go in here, paste that in there, and that didn't work. So let's see why. Let's see if that's why. So let's do, since we know it is on Sentry 3, let's go ahead and specify that here. Use a So instead of it using this environment variable and then that it was assigning it, that assignment variable is assigned to a different path temp. So let's go ahead, and I asked it to create a script with that pretty much the same layout, but use the Sentry 3. Let's see what we get. Yeah, this should work. So instead of it using that environment variable, what we'll get. This is kind of what I was thinking about earlier when I was saying that I would have done a little bit differently. I guess I should have specified in the prompt. But I am also learning ChatGPT as well, so I am no whiz at this yet. But as you can see, we have 123. So if we exit out of here, this should be enough to get us into level 4. There we go. We are now in level 4. All right, so on level 4, this is what we were going after. It says the password for Sentry 5 is the name of the file within a directory on the desktop that has spaces in its name. So essentially, we want to find a directory that has spaces in its name and then find the file inside of that directory. All right, so let's go over to ChatGPT. A PowerShell one-liner. Find a directory on user. Specify the user again, so be Sentry 4 in this case. Find a directory on user Sentry 4 desktop that has spaces in its name. Out of that directory, PowerShell one-liner, find a directory on the user Sentry4 desktop that has spaces in its name. Find the name of the file inside of that directory and print the screen. Probably not the best way to word it, but let's see if it works out. It's pretty quick. Okay, so get child item. He looks for Sentry4 desktop. That's perfect. Love it. Looks like he's looking for a directory. He's filtering it. Anything with a space inside of it. Anything space. That's the full name. That's the path. And then for each object, we're getting child item. So anything inside of this, we're piping into for each object. Get child item, path. This is the pipe that we're currently looking at. This should work. Because, I mean, yeah, let's see what happens. Just say select object first one, but there should only be one in here anyway. There you go, 49125. I was just curious maybe if it was going to find like a hidden directory or something that, or a file that was not relevant to the challenge. Maybe this would be the wrong one. But I guess then this wouldn't matter anyway. But either way, this worked out perfect. And we now have the password to level 5. Alright, so I think everyone has gotten the point that we could use ChatGPT to generate scripts, learn about PowerShell, get through some challenges, and progress within this, within scripting and stuff. So with that being said, I did say at the very beginning of this video that I will do Sentry 5, even though I have not completed it off video. Let's go ahead and give that a shot and see what we get. I am not promising that this will be the best way to go about it, but let's see what we get. So Sentry 5, as you can see, it says the password for Sentry 6 is the short name of the domain in which the system resides, plus the name of the file on the desktop. So all we need here is the short name of the domain which this session resides, or this computer resides, and then append the name of the file on the desktop to the short name of the domain, as we did similar to what we did in challenge number 2. Go ahead and bring this out. Bring this over here, so while we're writing this prompt, we have something to reference. So let's go ahead and say PowerShell one-liner. Sometimes it doesn't. Let's see. Create a PowerShell one script to do the following. Find Alright, so create a PowerShell one-liner script to do the following. Find the short name of the domain in which the current system resides, removing everything following the period. So usually like cyberme.tech or domain.com. And also find the name of the file on the user Sentry 5 desktop. I don't know the best way to put that, but it seems to be working on the other ones. Assign both values found to a variable, starting with the domain name and appending the name of the file found. Print result to screen. So let's see what we get. Right, so this looks exactly what I would have done. I think so. Domain name, and we're using that. We're getting the domain. Well, not yet, but we're using this class. We're going to select object. Here I'm assuming, yes, he's going to get the domain. And we're going to split it by the period. And now we're going to look for the file name on the desktop. Get child item. So everything inside of this should work. Seems like every time he's giving out different ways to get to the thing, but I'm come here, we open up the PowerShell. No. And this user profile is also assigned to temp, so we'll have to specify that again in a second. Select object dash first. In this case, that's fine. And that's good. So we want that exact script. The only thing that we want to change is we want this to change. Let's go ahead and say use So he's apologizing for the confusion, and he looks like he fixed that and didn't change anything else. So that's perfect. Let's go ahead and paste that in. And there we go, under the wire 3347. Perfect. So if we exit out of this and we go into SSH, which is up, and then we just type in that password. Here we go. Level 5 has been completed. Alright, so I hope you have enjoyed this video. Again, it is not perfect. This was just another way for me to get a video out there. I wanted to get back into it. So I thought this was perfect, as I've been playing with ChatGPT more and more lately. As I said in the very beginning, I think it is essential to be learning right now, especially going forward. We're still in the early stages, but a lot of people are using this to stay relevant in the industry, and I think it is definitely something that is necessary. So I suggest you do the same. This was just highlighting that you could learn PowerShell or do PowerShell scripts. These are very basic examples, but Under the Wire is a good method to kind of learn the basics of PowerShell, and using or supplementing that information with ChatGPT, you'll be able to get it done in no time. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I do plan to get back into it more. I have not found a schedule yet that will work for me at this time, but I do see it working better going forward. So again, if you did like this video, or if you're looking for more content come this way similar to this style, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, never stop learning.